Mayor Giuliani has been is 76 years old. You know, that puts him in a higher risk category. We know that he is fond of his cigars, which certainly can't help in fighting an infectious disease that can attack the lungs. And obviously, Wolf, this comes after.
He didn't mention this, but I was curious how it affects the condition of COVID-19 if you have sex with your cousin. I'm just curious, if you have sex with your cousin, like if you have penetrative sex with your cousin and you ejaculate inside your cousin, does that affect COVID-19? There we go. Yeah, no one can criticize my spelling this time. Not like my ADHD is gonna prevent me from doing things live on the stream. That's right. But hey, everyone here knows Rudy, right? Has anyone had a more interesting arc since all of this started than Rudy Giuliani? I never thought we'd see the mayor of 9/11 again. I thought that was going to be the end. I mean, like maybe his big appearance at the RNC back in 2016 when America from the top to the bottom, America. I was like, well, that's it. I mean, he's peaked. That's just premium Giuliani. I was so wrong. I was so very wrong. Wow. Rudy, the gift that keeps on giving.
Meredith standing by live at the White House with more. You know, Mark, Rudy Giuliani is a formidable presence. I first started covering him in 1982 when he was the mob-busting U.S. attorney here in New York. He cut crime as New York City mayor 2 terms, changed the culture of this city, guided New York through 9/11. He has put his...
True, he was the mayor of 9/11. Oh, and stop and frisk. Stop and frisk. That was great. That was great, especially if you weren't white. Stop and frisk, yeah. As much as I want to see them cry over this announcement, actually maybe a little bit. Okay, a little Schadenfreude.
Into everything he does, into his current mission. And he was even on with Maria Bartiromo this morning, despite this diagnosis of coronavirus. What is the reaction right now at the White House?
Eric.
Okay, you know what? It's we got to do this with Sky News Australia. I want to hear it out of their accents. I think that'll make it so much better. Here we go. Come on.
Breaking news, Donald Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, has tested positive to COVID-19.
Oh,
the former news...
Oh, one more time. One more time. Come on.
Breaking news, Donald Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, has tested positive to COVID-19.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's wonderful. Nice. Positive to COVID-19. Look at that little didgeridoo. Didn't think he'd end up like this, oi. Fantastic. Fantastic. Not good that he's sick. No, that's, I mean, I don't wish ill will upon anyone. No, not at all. And it's not as if we're going to, you know, find this humorous or find any humor in any of this. Okay, come on, let's take a step back. Let's do the responsible thing, and let's just allow the president of the United States to break the news to us. Rudy Giuliani, by far the greatest mayor in the history of New York, and who has been working tirelessly exposing the most corrupt election by far in the history of the USA, has tested positive for the China virus. Ooh. Get better soon, Rudy. We will carry on. And I can't agree more. Like, I need Rudy in my life. I don't want Rudy to get sicker. I mean, you know, everyone I'm sure remembers this. And again, please, maturity. Okay, this is a time for seriousness, thoughts and prayers. Certainly sending both of those at this time to Rudy Giuliani.
Yo, watch my man's over here. Yo, takes out the handkerchief, blow his nose, takes it booger side in, smears his hands all over it, wipes it into his lips, all over his face. Son, he's wiping snot all over his face, smearing his hands into it. Looks like shit, bro. And he's gonna fucking touch the podium.
Again, maturity. Okay, let's just stay calm. Oh, what's this?
Viewers, what else you are hearing, what we're learning from sources in the administration.
Well, Wolf, it was just 3 hours ago that the president tweeted that.
Wait, did you call him Wolfie? Did you just call him Wolfie? Oh no, I think I misheard it, but now I want to hear it again.
Well, Wolf, it was just 3 hours ago that the president tweeted.
I don't think he says Wolfie, but I think because of the way the next word starts, it does sound like he says Wolfie, right? Well, Wolfie.
Well, Wolf, it was just 3 hours.
Ooh, this one's tough. This one's, I don't know. I would. Oh man, he said Wolf. He's a good boy.
The administration.
Well, Wolf, it was just 3 hours ago that the president tweeted that Rudy Giuliani had indeed tested positive for the coronavirus. And now a person familiar with the matter tells me that Giuliani was admitted to the hospital today here in Washington, D.C. at Georgetown University Hospital. That obviously suggests that Mayor Giuliani's condition is fairly serious to require him to be admitted to the hospital. Obviously, a significant development. Mayor Giuliani is 76 years old. That puts him in a higher risk category. We know that he is fond of his cigars, which certainly can't help in fighting an infectious disease that can attack the lungs. And obviously, Wolf, this comes after.
He didn't mention this, but I was curious how it affects the condition of COVID-19 if you have sex with your cousin. I'm just curious, if you have sex with your cousin, like if you have penetrative sex with your cousin and you ejaculate inside your cousin, does that affect COVID-19? Because that's important. I think that's something that I don't know how much, like if there's been studies on this, if there's been correlated studies on this, if there's been any kind of data or analytics on that, but we should find that out, whether or not you've had sex with your cousin, if that in fact will affect how COVID-19, the treatments necessary.
After weeks, as you were seeing on your screen, of Mayor Giuliani disregarding public health guidelines, the basic public health guidelines that millions of Americans have learned to live with every day, including wearing a mask, social distancing. None of those are things that you can see Giuliani is doing in this video from Atlanta, where Mayor Giuliani was in the Georgia State Capitol on Thursday. During a break in the hearing, he was hugging folks, he was shaking hands, he was taking photos with folks close together without wearing any masks. And so obviously, Wolf, you can, Hey,
Mr. Peter Wood, welcome back. And wow. So I think this is going to have to be said a couple times because I'm sure people are going to drop into the stream and be like, what are you doing? You evil leftists. All right. Every single time this happens, Donald Trump, he gets COVID-19. And what do? You don't give him thoughts and prayers, all right? All of a sudden, it's like, what, if Kissinger died, would you celebrate it? If Kissinger died, would you be like, well, yes, we've just avenged thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of Cambodian children with his death? Are you going to dance on his grave? Would you urinate on his grave? Is that what you would do, leftist? Huh? Is that how this is? And here's the thing. I'm not advocating for Rudy Giuliani to get sicker. I'm not finding any particular joy in any of this, as comical and strange and cartoonish as this human being is. But there's a certain strange irony to the whole thing, to the people who have overwhelmingly been saying that masks don't work, they're ineffective, that we should open up the country, that we shouldn't do lockdowns, that these things are all going to hurt people more than they're going to help, that the cure can't be worse than the disease. You've heard it all before, right? It just seems a little bit odd that all the people who ignore COVID like it doesn't exist and who endanger other people seem to keep catching it. And, unfortunately, as it turns out, they're going to be fine. They're going to be totally fine because, again, he's going to get the best healthcare money can buy. He'll get all the same kind of drugs that Donald Trump got. He'll have the Frankenstein stuff. He'll have the kids' blood. They probably fly in the blood of the Cambodian children that Henry Kissinger himself killed. They inject that directly into the vein. So he's going to be okay. But it doesn't matter.
Folks can get coronavirus while taking precautions, but when you don't take precautions, when you engage in this kind of reckless behavior, you obviously increase your risk for getting the virus, and you also increase the risk that you can transmit the virus unknowingly, unwittingly to the people around you. The contact tracing for this is going to be a mess, given what you're seeing on your screen. Just 3 days ago, Mayor Giuliani in close contact with a number of folks outside of.
I love this footage, by the way. High fives, hugs, hand slaps, little Dutch rudder going on out there, little circle jerk, like he's just touching everyone he can get his hands on, just coughing, touching, sweating.
We know that Mayor Giuliani was in 3 states in the last week. He returned to Washington, D.C. On Friday, and this morning we know that he appeared on a Fox News program, and yet we're learning that later in the day he was obviously admitted to the hospital, suggesting that his condition had significantly worsened, as we know can sometimes.
Oh, that's right. Sushi Mom, drunk Karen, now has the COVID. Oh, poor drunk Karen. Man, I got to give it to Rudy, though. Like I said, no one so far has been more captivating, shall we say. I mean, and speaking of coronavirus claims, let's hear a couple of the highlights that Rudy's been giving us.
To trace everybody for cancer and heart disease and obesity, and I mean a lot of things kill you more than COVID-19. So we should be traced for all those things.
Once you trace and you find more positives, then you isolate the positives. They're under quarantine, they can't go out, they can't infect anybody else.
Let's get back to work again, because we're ready to go back to work again.
Let's get back to work again. Well, not you, Rudy. You're sick.
I'm not spinning a damn thing. I'm telling you the truth. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have any idea what you're talking about.
You just said.
Did you ask the Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden?
No.
So the president did bring up Joe Biden on the call.
Maybe he didn't bring it up. The only thing I ask about Joe Biden is to get to the bottom of how it was that Lutsenko, who was appointed, dismissed the case against Antak.
So you did ask Ukraine to look into Joe Biden?
Of course I did.
You just said you didn't.
Okay, hold on.
Shut up, moron. Shut up.
Okay, hold on.
Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
Chris,
you don't know what you're talking about, idiot. The State Department asked me.
Just said it.
No, I didn't. You did, you liar. One time Bill Clinton asked me, what's this guy Romney like? You know what I told him? He's our Al Gore.
All right, Rudy, hold that thought.
Don't you realize it's a complete sham?
I don't even get that one. I mean, I get most references. What's this one? Just that he's like, is that the old Robin Williams thing? Where he's like, I do a great impression of a hot dog.
All right, Rudy, hold that.
So is that what Al Gore is known for? Like, hey, I'm Al Gore and I invented the internet. You know, that whole thing. That's what I'm known for. Yeah, that's my thing.
Don't you realize this is a complete sham?
Get it out.
I am
The hell you're not.
institutionally
But that's
insulting
okay.
you. Chris,
That's
I'm
okay. That's what you want
institutionally
to do.
insulting you
You're
because your coverage
institutionally
is
insulting.
horrendous. I actually think they should all congratulate me. Because if it weren't for me, nobody would have uncovered and faced massive corruption by the Vice President of the United States. In fact, I'm a legitimate whistleblower.
I was hoping he would say he's an American hero. I was going to do a little quick deep dive and give you all the history of Giuliani from then until now.
Prosecutor, Mayor of New York City, Time Person of the Year. These are just some of the hats worn by Rudy Giuliani before we knew him as President Trump's right-hand man. So how did he
I spelled Giuliani wrong? Can I spell a makeup word wrong?
Rudy Giuliani!
Fine.
Do this? Rudolph Giuliani was born and raised in Brooklyn to a working-class family. His father was a bar owner and served time in Sing Sing for armed robbery. But Giuliani said it was his father's criminal past that inspired him to go into law enforcement.
My father would say to me, when you make a decision, the most important thing you've got to think about is, can you shave the next morning and look at yourself?
Hey, Dr. Dibbles, thanks for giving it up.
Before that, he'd considered the...
Oh, and Kef Alls, thanks for the rating party of 8.
And NYU Law. He considered himself a Democrat, volunteering for RFK's 1968 presidential campaign. He later clerked for the Southern District of New York and was promoted to lead their narcotics unit at just 29 years old. During this time, Giuliani also became a Republican, which people suspected he did for political gain. That includes his own mom, who said, quote, he only became a Republican after he began to get all these jobs from them. In 1983,
So he's a grifter.
Giuliani returned home as the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York. He made over 4,000 convictions, from corrupt Wall Street guys to the heads of the mafia. Then in 1993, he was elected as the first Republican mayor of New York City since the 60s.
I, Rudolph William Giuliani, do solemnly swear.
Interestingly, some of his politics were pretty liberal. He supported gay rights, immigrant protections, gun control, and abortion rights. But the mayor was hyper-focused on cleaning up the city streets. He pursued petty offenses like graffiti and marijuana possession to bring down the crime rate. But some believe this strategy was racially biased. The violent crime rate did drop during Giuliani's tenure, but it already began declining under his predecessor.
We're held together by law, and we're held together by respect for the law.
The mayor couldn't pursue
Metal
three
Una,
terms,
thanks for subscribing to
so
Tier
he
1.
ran for New York Senate. He actually polled ahead of Hillary Clinton until he hit a major low point. He was diagnosed with prostate cancer and divorced his wife following an extramarital affair. He also received backlash for how he handled a fatal NYPD shooting of an unarmed black man. He soon left the race. But on 9/11, everything changed. Giuliani became known worldwide as America's mayor for his strong leadership during a time of tragedy.
Tomorrow, New York is going to be here, and we're going to rebuild, and we're going to be stronger than we were before.
His approval rating skyrocketed to almost 80%. Even after he left office, he was polled as the most popular politician of either party. This set the stage for his 2008 presidential run.
They totally skipped over that he married his second cousin. Why wouldn't you add that? That seems like a bit of a misstep, right? That's not really journalistic integrity. You got to talk about the cousin.
Where he started as a frontrunner.
I'm unleashing that individual decision making that makes America great.
Hey, radical
he spiraled
Zionism.
downhill after he underestimated early voting states and became entangled in controversy. Firefighters accused him of rushing 9/11 recovery efforts and downplaying dangerous health conditions at Ground Zero. After dropping out of the presidential race, he kept a relatively low profile. He returned to law for several years. That is, until 2016.
Donald Trump is the agent of change.
Here it is.
And he will be the leader of the change we need.
Giuliani reemerged as a recurring character of Trump's presidential campaign. Their friendship goes way back.
You know, you're really beautiful. And a woman that looks like that has to have her own special scent.
Oh, thank you.
That was a parody video for the mayor's Inner Circle press roast. In all seriousness, the two do have history. Trump supported Giuliani as mayor.
Wait, you're not going to show the motorboating? What is this? NBC, you're supposed to be the liberal media, all right? We're supposed to be the sheeple. We're supposed to be the sheeple following you right now. What is this? What is this lib shit? This isn't Libby. It's not Libby at all.
And before Trump's inauguration, he apparently considered Giuliani for Secretary of State. When that didn't work out, he became Trump's informal cybersecurity advisor and helped craft the Muslim ban. Of course, we know Giuliani eventually accepted a bigger role. As Trump's personal lawyer, he tirelessly defended him throughout the Russia investigation. And this all brings us to today, with Giuliani finding himself knee-deep in a presidential impeachment inquiry. Despite having no official government role, the whistleblower complaint named him a, quote, central figure in pressuring Ukraine to investigate Democrats. The House subpoenaed him, but he's not complying. But ironically, Giuliani's story continues to unfold in the place where it all started, the Southern District of New York. According to the New York Times, federal prosecutors are investigating whether he broke lobbying laws during his work with Ukraine. We're still learning Giuliani's role in all of.
Yeah, I guess that's a good little summary. Wow. I see. Whoa, she's totally going to have COVID now. So, hey, by the way, this one, which is like, there's just a never-ending stream of weird shit to come out of Giuliani these days. And I mean that literally, like he's streaming shit that from the sides of his face. But this one was one of the best ones. He hired an actor. She's an actor, and she's got like, you know, a sordid career of different roles to do this, to play the drunk Karen. To come forward about it, who also has some weird scandal of her own. Apparently, she's involved in something else, sending porn to an ex-husband of sorts. But yeah, you can't make this stuff up. I don't know where it comes from.
I'd say that poll book is off by over 100,000. That poll book. Why don't you look at the registered voters on there?
So, my question then is if the
guess how many? Wait, what about the turnout rate? 120%.
Let's let Representative Johnson ask his question.
My question is why we're not seeing the poll book off by 30,000 votes.
Oh, Fed does. Thank you for subscribing to Twitch Gaming. Big Cambonian, thanks for subscribing.
I mean, Matthew, this is like watching some sort of a skit.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, I don't understand how they keep getting stranger. But I'm sure everything's gonna have the brakes put on it for a little while now. Like I said, Rudy has contracted the COVID. He's now been admitted to the hospital. He's in Georgetown Hospital, where I'm sure again he's gonna get the finest of treatments. They're gonna give him all of the drugs. He's gonna get everything. I don't know if this is going to slow down all the fervor that's been happening. Oh, Starlight Reverie, thank you for subscribing as well. Welcome back. But I don't know if this is going to slow down all the anger and the fervor that's been going down. I don't know if this is going to slow down the court cases. They're kind of getting destroyed on their own time. You know, they're basically non-existent. So there's that. She's a literal SNL character. I mean, SNL had it really easy this week. I haven't watched all the SNL highlights myself, but I'm guessing they touched on that. I don't want to steal any of Hassan's energy. One last thing I want to see about Rudy Giuliani before I move on to something else.
We are lucky to have Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk's running the White House, folks.
His name is Hassan.
His spirit, his love of this country. He's done an amazing job.
We are going to fight for freedom on campuses across the country. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this very special episode of The Charlie Kirk Show. We are thrilled to be joined today by my friend Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York and a great American. Mr. Mayor, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Charlie. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing excellent. I just want to commend you and compliment you on your heroic work the last couple weeks in fighting for voter integrity and election integrity. Just give us an update. How are things going? You've been in Arizona and Michigan, all over the country, really revealing some incredible, affidavits and instances of fraud. How are things going from the front lines?
I think things are going very well. You wouldn't know it because, of course, it doesn't get covered because it's covered up, except by you and OAN and a couple of the honest media outlets. But the fact is, we've now presented 50 or 60 witnesses. We've presented them with about 1,000 affidavits, all of which constitute evidence. Most of it is firsthand eyewitness testimony in Pennsylvania. Over every single one of our observers was excluded, sometimes by force. Not just sometimes, a lot of times by force. So they couldn't observe around 800,000 ballots, mail-in ballots that were being put in, when we know that there's a problem with their mail-in ballots. When you look at the final count in Pennsylvania, there are 700,000.
This was the last interview I think he did before this all went down. So this is probably the last time you'll see Giuliani before he starts having to do the Trump thing, where, of course, I'm sure he'll stand tall and proud as, a couple brown beads of sweat pour down his face, and he can stand there and prepare to look strong for the people as he breathes heavily underneath the mask.
The cowardly legislators in Pennsylvania, the Republican leadership, is trying to avoid its constitutional responsibility to take over and to change the result to reflect who really won. They have that obligation under the Constitution. Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2 puts the finger of constitutional responsibility right on the state legislature, nobody else.
Well, unfortunately, it turns out that most of these are spurious. They're getting thrown out by almost every single court in which they get entered to. And the whole thing was ridiculous. And now Rudy is going to be spending the next little while in the hospital. So that'll probably put a little bit of a damper on this whole process. But again, I wish Rudy some thoughts and prayers, a swift recovery, to say the least. And that's all that can really be said about that. Hey, we want to mutual aid you to get some eyeballs on your work. So if you have a leftist YouTube channel or Twitch stream or something you want us to advertise, just send us a 20 to 30 second ad using the forums at weareserfs.com. We'll do our best to help you out. And please submit once per channel.
To our gods, I'm Rav, and Xander Forbes. We shall build temples in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we live to do your bidding. To our lords, Jeffrey Lamb, Trevor R., Stephen, Nine Tails Cosmic Fox, Hans Josephine, Poppy Nelson, Ryan Lubin, Jimothy K. Meeble Beeps Jr. We bow meekly for your pleasure. And to our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Byte, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Political Puppy, Ali Menthal, Jimmy Big Nuts, Andreas Chitoro, Good poon hates cops. That's solid poon then. Dr. Zayas, Joppy, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Jack Darko, Thomas Barrington, J. Fraser Cartwright, Goofalankius, Melissa Murphy, Nicholas Marks, Alexander Thaler, Ramon Acosta, and Ali Retta Jaffer. We salute you. Love you all. Peace.